you know what, I wasn't asked, I was charged $5 and somebody behind me was charged $5, that's not the right thing to do. So I think we need to do that, if we can bring that by next meeting. I'd like to place that in front of council, or not next meeting.
Can we do it
First
the
in
second meeting
February.
in January, or the 1st of February?
First meeting in February, bring that to council to see if we think that's a good idea. But I think that would help alleviate that concern that citizens have. And I think maybe the taxi cab owners will like that idea so that their cab drivers aren't pocketing, whatever change that would be.
Well, Ciudad Juarez, this is Mexico, is against the law to ride share. Why? Because of safety. I know this is not Ciudad Juarez. In Ciudad Juarez, there's a lot of murders, sequestros, and all that. So it's 100% against the law to ride share. How can who you own the taxi driver for ride share? Because what happens is there's a lot of the customer gets in, and you know what? Another person gets in. I'm going the same way. Oh, okay, fine. You know what? He takes out a gun, robs them. So now who you blame? You can say, hey, you know what? Maybe it was a taxi driver that plotted this out. So it's against the law.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I just want to mention that essentially the topic of this is relocation of the taxi stand. It's not technically on the agenda, and since we're going to be putting it on a future agenda, we can have a full discussion about it at that time.
Well,
I appreciate the input.
Would you like to restate your motion?
My motion is to just basically leave things the way they are right now. To give the authority to the chief to maybe eliminate the number of taxis that are parked at the same time and the number of buses that are parked at the same time to avoid the congestion. My additional to the motion is to allow a temporary, and we're going to put plastic bag on those meters, yes, we're going to lose revenue, to allow a temporary 2 weeks serious authority event for having those taxis on First Street. But immediately, and this is in conditions, that they will be back to their original location right after that event.
I will second that motion, and I know we're not going to solve this problem today. There's a problem of congestion. Perhaps the terminal with the taxis and the buses is not a good thing. You've got a bus terminal on the corner of 3rd and Paulin that picks up people that go up to Calapat, Brawley. That's a mass transit system. Perhaps a different location for the buses. I don't know, but this needs to be studied, and I agree with Vice Mayor Uzan with the temporary use for the city of Caribe, which is in the early part of February. But I think this needs to be brought back to the table, and I think we need to examine this a little more where we don't lose revenue for parking meters, and we look for alternative terminals for the buses if that is too congested, or the taxis or something. But we're not going to solve it here tonight, so I second the motion.
Okay. You want to?
No, my motion is strictly just for the event.
Okay. Did you second the discussion earlier? You did.
Right.
Okay.
Call for the question.
Call for the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me make a superseding motion, which I think I'm allowed to. I'm going. No, before.
No, you have to go for the votes on my first motion first.
If I make a superseding motion, let's make it. We can do it. Here's my amendment to your motion. You want to answer the question?
I think the person who made the original motion has to agree to the amendment for you to be able to.
No, I'd like you to call for the votes.
Oh,
I made a motion.
he second. Who calls for the vote? Jennifer first or second? No, I mean, she said, I know that, but she said the person that made the vote, or what'd you say?
You were trying to amend the motion, and I
Right.
believe the person who did the first, that called for the motion in the first place without being Mayor Pro Tem Ozan, would have to agree to amend it before you can amend it.
I'm making a superseding motion.
And I don't know if superseding motions are covered in here.
Well, I'll tell you.
My recommendation would be to take the vote on the first item that was on the table, and then if that's not approved, then you can make a
That defeats the purpose of the superseding motion.
I'd like to hear what Mr. Mayor's point is asking.
Here's what my
I can
superseding.
look through your procedures. We've never done
Okay, well, second for discussion.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Here's what I was going to suggest. That we direct our engineering and our chief of police to look at the idea of that first section between Heffernan and Rockwood, where you have the green line, which we're allowing the temporary removal of taxis. Because it's in our downtown plan anyways, which is that portion of it to become a pedestrian with traffic lane only for emergency vehicles, the border patrol, that we look at the possibility of having taxis on one side and buses on the other side, with a median along the middle so people could stand on it as part of a downtown transportation.
Close completely Rockwood and Heffernan.
Can you bring that, can someone bring one of these up? Just are they tied up to the... Here's what I'm talking about. Our downtown plan calls for this portion here, from Heffernan to Rockwood, to be a walking path. I'm proposing that we look at having one side be taxis from here to the McDonald's, and from here to whatever same side, that it be one side taxis, one side buses, with a median along this portion so that people can either stand there as they're waiting for the bus or go walk completely across the street to the shop side, so that this becomes a temporary hub for transportation. Because right now we would be allowing emergency vehicles for this and people that work here.
I would,
The traffic of buses is going to go to here.
No. We limit northbound traffic from buses and taxis. All of them have to go westbound.
With that idea,
you mean eastbound?
Or this way.
Mayor Fuentes,
Well, exactly. Well, they can go this way. So my amendment to the motion was going to be to study that, whatever it is, whatever direction, and to allow this change.
We make a motion now.
So my recommendation was going to be to do that. Plus
I have no problem at all for studying it.
plus giving us a report on what this plus that change does to our downtown movement of people by March.
I have no problem at all changing it, making some additional study to it, traffic study. That's okay with you.
See, so we have a first, and second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining?
I'll abstain. I still don't see where the flow is going to be away from the house.
Right now, we should basically leave everything the way it is. That was my motion. And 2 weeks was just the Syria of Caribbean. That's all. That's my motion. That study was just a study, which we will.
No, I agree with the study. In fact, I've commented this concept before to other people about having the first between Rockwood and Heffernan, and the one side with buses and the other side with cabs. But right now it's still going towards. It's still going towards that congestion.
Yes, I agree with
And
that.
that's why I'm going to have to abstain.
Can we limit the northbound Rockwood, be an ordinance change? Is that an ordinance change, or is it just traffic enforcement?
yeah, I don't think we want to piecemeal it. I think if we're going to sit back and want to take a look at this area altogether as a whole, which is the proper way to do it, we want to do a study and make sure that we've addressed all of those different issues.
And all this is done in-house, right? I'm not talking about hiring anybody, paying anybody. It's in-house.
We can do it, we'll work with the engineer, we'll come back with a plan. Obviously, you have a right to take a look at it and decide whether you're in agreement with it or whether it's lacking.
Mr. Nugent, please include in your study all physical impact to the city, and that's include shade, benches, everything. If that's going to be a transportation hub, we need all the numbers, please. Thank you.
So it's going to allow the cabs to be on first.
No, it's
Go back to what it was.
no, right now it's go back to what it was after the event. But the study, it wants a further study to move it into.
Wait, let me open it back because we're talking about it. I'd like to bring this back, open it.
We can open it back.